Hello, everybody. My name is Travis, and this is the Daily Travesty. And what I thought we would do today is Sealed. Do an adventure in the Forgotten Realms Sealed. Mildly disappointing that the Arena Open for this season is not a sealed event. I really enjoyed playing in the Kaldheim Arena Open and then in the Strixhaven one. I thought they were a ton of fun. It looks like the Arena Open this season is going to be a standard event, which is interesting, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's enough standard events that it's not really that interesting to just have like another one, but I also don't play a ton of Constructed, and maybe people that play Constructed are really excited about it. So good for them. What we're going to be doing today is building a sealed pool. I've been doing a bunch of drafts. I've been enjoying the drafts for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, but I just felt like playing Sealed today, and I think people like watching Sealed as well. It's always fun to crack the packs open and try and get the best build you can. So let's go ahead and jump into our Sealed for the day. One of the problems I have with playing Sealed on Arena is that the prizes aren't great. Like if you get 7 wins, you net like 200 gems. If you go 6 wins, you break even. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. I think they value the actual digital cards a little bit too highly, like in terms of how much they make you pay for them. I would rather have better pricing, but anyway, here we are with our rares, and definitely not as good as our last batch of rares, but hey, you don't need crazy rares to win Sealed. It depends on what the whole pool looks like. Wish is not a card we're gonna be playing a card from your sideboard, but it costs 3 extra mana is just kind of awful. Why didn't you put that really good card you wanted in your deck? So Lair of the Hydra is solid. I mean, if we play green, we're definitely playing this card. Just having a land that can also be a creature sometimes is good. And this is actually one of the better creature lands because it scales with the game. Like if you have 5 mana in play, this is a 4/4. If you have 10 mana in play, this is a 9/9. So that's actually a decent card. I haven't cast Long Rest. I did consider putting it in a deck. I think this card can actually be okay, especially if you have some really good cards to get back. Like paying 5 mana to get 2 of your really good cards back or 2 removal spells back seems pretty good to me. It's not like a super crazy rare, but if we're playing a green deck, we'll probably play this. Especially because in general, sealed games tend to play out slower than draft. I think this card could be good in sealed. Just because the decks aren't as streamlined, people are playing more expensive stuff, so the games tend to go a bit longer. And this card can be really good if you cast it for 6 mana, get 3 things, or 7 mana and get 4 things back. So might be playing this, but it's not a huge bomb. Westgate Regent is really good though. This card can end games on its own. If you ever get to attack with this and hit, it becomes an 8/8 flyer, which is really hard to deal with. Like certainly your opponent can play a destroy target creature card, but those aren't that common in AFR, in the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. So as soon as this thing has 4 counters on it, it takes it out of range of a lot of the removal, a lot of the damage based removal. And if your opponent wants to kill it, they have to discard a card, which sometimes is really bad for them if they have nothing in hand or if they don't have like an extra land that they want to discard. So that card's awesome. We definitely want to play this card. I think Rogue class can be solid. I haven't played with this one myself, but I've heard people talk about it, and I think it could be pretty good, especially again like in a kind of a slower game where you play this on turn 2, you start hitting your opponent, stocking up with your opponent's cards, and then eventually you get to level 3 and you just cast all the cards that you saved up with Rogue class. I think that's really good. I don't know if this is a card you splash so much because you really want this to be in play early. You don't want the game to go long and then you play this, like wait around for splash mana and play this on like turn 6 or 7 is probably not as good. So if our deck ends up being mostly black and blue, and it might be mostly black because of this Westgate Regent, I could see playing Rogue class and being happy with it. I sincerely doubt we're going to be playing Tiamat. I think it's just too hard to get the casting cost on this. If you're in a heavy treasures deck, like a black-red deck that makes a lot of treasure, could be okay. I mean, 7 mana, 7/7 flying is decent, and even if you get one other card from your library from this, that's pretty good. So I don't think we're going to be playing Tiamat, but we'll see how it works out. I definitely want to play the Westgate region, though, and I wouldn't mind playing Lair of the Hydra. In Sealed, you do want to play your best cards if you can, but you kind of have to look at your pool and see what your pool can support. And so one of the first things I look at after the rares is there any mana fixing? Like, do we have any Evolving Wilds, which we don't, which makes it a little bit harder to splash. Next things I might look at are fixing in green. Usually we don't have the instant card that grabs 2 basic lands. But in Adventures in the Forgotten Realms specifically, we can also look at red cards that help us fix. Like Unexpected Windfall makes a couple treasures that can help you splash as well. Ooh, Triple Hoarding Ogre can actually help us splash as well. This makes some treasures. All right, so that's kind of it for that. I guess Horde Robber, Grim Bounty. Ooh, nice. Okay, so it looks like we might actually be able to splash some cards. Let's go through now and take a look at what cards we would be really excited to play in each of the decks. And that kind of gives us an indication what colors we want to be in. Usually it's your rares that will also give you an indication. Rares and removal spells that give you an indication of what colors you want to be in. But our rares were kind of meh, so we're going to be looking to bolster our deck with our commons and uncommons. Dongbringer Cleric is good. It's not like crazy exciting, but I would always play this in a white deck. Just comes down as a 2-drop, can stop an early aggressive play by your opponent. And sometimes your opponents are just going to play their rare enchantments, their class cards, or even the Minimus Containment, the 3-mana white spell that turns something into a treasure. Like, that's pretty good. Arborea Pegasus is good too, but again, not like incredibly exciting. So our white doesn't look that exciting. We don't have any removal spells. We don't like have a super aggressive bent to it. In blue, Triple Scion is pretty good. Like, this card is decent. Displacer Beast is fine. Blue Dragon's nice. If we end up playing the Tiamat, this is something we could go get. So I'm going to take this down, although blue's also looking a little bit thin here. If we go into black, what are we excited to play? Well, Power Word Kill is great. Really nice removal spell there. Death Priest of Merkel is something I would be very excited to play. When things are dying, you're just making skeletons, and it can kind of feed itself. Like, you attack with a 2/2, they kill your 2/2 maybe, and then you make another 2/2. So that can be really decent. Power Word Kill is awesome. It just kills almost anything. You are going to see more, like, maybe powerful creatures like the dragons, devils, demons, angels in Sealed, because people will have more access to those. But this still kills most things for 2 mana instant speed. It's really good. Grim Bounty also very good. Just kills anything, gets you a treasure. We already saw the Westgate region. So black is looking like it's pretty solid. Like, I'm very excited to play these 4 cards. And we have good support for it. Like, there's a ton of good stuff in black here. I'm just pulling down the super exciting cards, but black is looking pretty solid. Goblin Morningstar is good. I found that the trample on this is really useful. 2 mana 2/1 comes down and leaves the equipment behind. I think it's a card you would always want to play. Even if you're not an aggressive deck, this is really good. And having the extra, like having the ability to give something trample is good. Maybe your opponent makes a whole bunch of 1/1 flyers and you give this thing trample and it's like a 32/32. It's pretty sweet. Hobgoblin Captain is a nice 2-drop. Yeah, always play that card. Magic Missile is nice in red. Rust Monster is decent. 3 mana 2/1 first strike is going to block really well. And if you have any amount of treasures you threaten to pump this thing up, it's really hard to block and it's really hard for your opponent to attack into. Already mentioned the Hoarding Ogres. Again, I would play these cards, especially if I'm splashing. I'm not going to pull them down right now. They're not that crazy, but Fireball, not a super high pick in draft. Oh, people play this and you should play it if you can. It's just not a big high pick because it costs 5 mana. It's a bit expensive, but definitely something we're going to play in sealed. You want to play as many removal spells as you can because your opponent is just going to play more powerful cards. So we're happy to see that. Lair of the Hydra is a good card. Hunter's Mark is removal, and actually works really well with things like Underdark Basilisk. Ooh, Wandering Troubadour. This card is very good. Every time you play a land, you get a venture. That's really good. And Double Owlbear is nice too. Ooh, and a Purple Worm. So our creature quality in green looks pretty good. I would say black was exciting, and like some of these commons and uncommons look really good. Red was also decent because of the removal spells and some of the nice 2-drop cards. Let's look at our multicolored stuff. So this blue-black rogue class is something we would want to play in blue-black, but we didn't really get a ton of great things to play in blue. Really just the blue dragon was the only thing we were excited about. So I don't see us playing rogue class because, like I said, I don't think you really want to splash this card that often. Especially if you're splashing off treasures. Like, maybe you get a treasure to play this on for blue-black, but then you need another treasure to level it up, and I just don't know if that's something we're going to be doing that often. This card also incentivizes you to have a lot of the blue-black, like, unblockable creatures or make something hard to block, so I don't know if that's a card we would have. I don't think this is a card we're going to have unless we have a ton of treasures in our deck. And none of these cards look that great. I guess Spiked Pit Trap is a fine card if you need more removal. So that's a card we'll consider putting in our deck. It's colorless, it'll go in any deck, but I'm not super excited about it, so I'm going to keep it out for right now. And that leaves me with not being in blue. Although these Scions, the Displacer Beast, Contact Other Plane is fine. Air Cult Elemental. I think our really, really good quality cards are not in blue. So we're going to take the dragon out for right now. And now let's go through and pull down all of the utility cards or things that can just fill out a deck. I'm definitely looking at being some combination of black, green, or black, red, or maybe even red, green. Although I think that's probably less likely. So I'm going to pull down all the cards I would be happy to play in my decks. And Dungeon Crawler is totally fine. 1 mana, 2/1. Like, basically as good as a 2 mana, 2/2, but a little bit better. Shambling Ghast is really good. Can block 2/2s, can attack into 2/2s, can make a treasure if you really need the treasure. Horde Robber, I think, is going to be decent. It blocks well, and it can make treasures if it doesn't get blocked. Sepulchre Ghoul is fine. Thieves' Tools is interesting. If I have a whole bunch of stuff with 3 power or less that I want to smash in with, it could be good. I think this card is also probably a little bit better in sealed than draft as well. It's been good in draft, but it's probably something worth considering in sealed because a lot of the time you'll get into creature board stalls where you play a bunch of creatures, your opponent plays a bunch of creatures. Nobody can kind of do anything because the decks aren't as streamlined. So if you're the one with an unblockable creature, you might just win off of that. So that is a card I will consider. It's good if you put it on like Horde Robber as well. It can make a Sepulchre Ghoul unblocked, and then you can pump it up to a 4. So something worth considering. Ooh, and double Fangblade also makes me think the Thieves' Tools is going to be good if we play black. Just giving this thing unblockable and venturing every turn is really good. Yangti Fangblade is really good. It has Death Touch. It can block something and kill it, or it attacks well. They don't really want to block because it has Death Touch, but they do want to block because it ventures, so that's really good. Clattering Skeletons has been decent. It's just big enough, right? It's powerful, it hits hard, and 3 toughness is pretty decent. I don't think Manticore is that special. Zombie Ogre's fine as well. The nice thing about sealed... Oh, I hope we did the correct sealed. Oops, I didn't even look. We should be doing best of 3. We might have accidentally gone into best of 1. I prefer best of 3 in sealed, especially because the sideboarding can be really important to tune your deck for your opponent's like crazy rares and stuff. We might have accidentally gone into best of 1 though, which is a bit sad, but I don't know if there's a way to check that until we finish right now. These Hoarding Ogres are fine, so I'll bring those down. They also work well with the Thieves tools because you can give it unblockable and make a ton of treasure. And if you have something good to do with it, that's awesome. The Jaded Sellswords are fine, especially if we're black-red with a bunch of treasures. I might play this. 4 mana, 4/3 first strike haste. The turn it comes down is actually pretty tough to deal with for a lot of decks. So that's a card I would probably play in black-red. So it looks like black and red has quite a bit. Let's look at our green. So we like the Underdark Basilisk. Finding a Cursed Idol is something that's probably better as a sideboard card, but would be a really good sideboard card to have access to. If your opponent plays a crazy enchantment or artifact in the first game, you can bring these in for the second game. Also something we can splash. Like if we end up playing red-black, we might put some of these in and play them off treasures. And then the Long Rest, which is a card we wouldn't necessarily splash because of the triple green. So that looks kind of like it, and it looks like we have the deepest base in the red-black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, our green creatures are pretty good. I wonder if Troubadour is good enough to splash. And Hunter's Mark, maybe, if we need more removal. They both cost a single green. I don't think you splash Owlbear just because of the double green cost. So I'm going to start by looking at the red-black deck. It looks like we just have the most cards for that, and I imagine that's going to be the deck we play. Just looking at what we have. I don't think we're playing blue or white. Yeah, I don't think we're playing blue or white. So let's take a look at this, and let's do some organizing here. We have a lot of red 4-drops. I don't think we want to play all of those. Yeah, this is looking like a pretty obvious, ooh, another 4-drop. Pretty obvious black-red deck, but we'll just take a look here. Like, this is 23 cards as it is, and I'm not actually unhappy with how this looks. Like, this looks like a mediocre draft deck to me. And a mediocre draft deck could potentially be a good sealed deck. We have Power Word Kill, Magic Missile, Grim Bounty, Fireball. So we have 4 good pieces of removal. Westgate Regent is a nice way to win games. The Thieves Tools is another way to push through damage. Morningstar can push through damage because it has trample, and we can put it on like Sellswords or even these Hoarding Ogres to an extent. Death Priest is nice if stuff is dying. So yeah, this actually looks like a pretty good base to start with. 17 creatures is decent. Excuse me. I'm thinking that based on the Fireball and the Magic Missile alone, that the red is going to be better than green. Because in green, we only had the Hunter's Mark, which is kind of like a removal spell. Hobgoblin Captain's good. Mace is good. Rust Monsters are good, especially with a bunch of treasures. I don't think we're supposed to play the Unexpected Windfalls just to make treasures from, but this seems pretty decent, actually. So are there other cards we would want to put in? Well, Feign Death is a card you might sideboard in if your opponent has a bunch of removal. This is nice. If they do end up killing your creature, you can just bring it back. It's nice to protect like Regent with, because this thing has a huge target on its back. If you... I don't know, if they kill Death Priest, or they try to, Feign Death can be good there as well. Our deck does look like it wants to attack a good amount of the time, so we can attack a little bit more, not carelessly, but a little bit more gratuitously if we have something like Feign Death in our deck. Deadly Dispute is fine. I would rather play this if I had like the spoils or the loyalty, Price of Loyalty. I don't know why I always call it spoils. Price of Loyalty, the 3-mana red card that you like gain control of an opponent's creature till end of turn. That with Deadly Dispute is really good. Deadly Dispute also something you can put in your deck if your opponent has a bunch of removal, because they try and kill your creature and then you just get extra value because you sacrifice the creature. Our deck, depending on how many of these Hoarding Ogres we play, we might actually have a decent number of treasures. So that is something we could consider playing. Vampire Spawn is okay. I would consider sideboarding this in if my opponent had a bunch of 2 power creatures that I want to be able to block or attack into. Although I think Rust Monster is going to be pretty good for that. Like, I don't know what I would take out for this. Manticore's fine. Nothing special. And Hoarding Ogre's decent as a big body that's difficult to attack into. I might consider playing Hoarding Ogre over Zombie Ogre over like Hoarding Ogre or something. This also gets pumped up from the Death Priest. That's kind of neat. Skeletons, vampires, and zombies. Yeah, I can mix this a 3/4. It's kind of neat. I don't think Fate's Reversal is going to be good enough. Although, I guess this kind of has some of the same benefits as Feign Death, where if they kill Westgate Regent or Death Priest, we can bring it back. We don't have a ton of like bombs in this deck. We're just going to be looking at playing good quality cards and attacking a bunch. If we had some other really powerful cards, I would consider Fate's Reversal a little bit more, because then it basically acts like another bomb rare if you have a whole bunch of stuff to get with it. I don't think we need these. Things that we did consider or would consider splashing would be like Wandering Troubadour to get extra ventures, and Hunter's Mark to have extra removal. Although this card's totally fine on its own. It's a little bit better when you have things like Basilisk or high power creatures like Owlbear. Although giving +1/+1 to Sellsword or Hoarding Ogre and killing something with 4 toughness is actually decent. Even Clattering Skeletons. So how much do we have that... I think this is going to be our deck. I don't think the green is even really worth looking at. Although the Owlbears are better than these cards. Troubadour is better than these cards. Hunter's Mark is kind of on par with Fireball. They're both expensive removal spells. Purple Worm is good. It's better than these cards. This is a fine 2-drop to replace one of our 2-drops. The Lair is decent. So we would be giving up a couple of Rust Monsters and a Magic Missile, which I think are pretty good in a lot of matchups. Maybe there's a world where we switch into green. Like, we lose out on Magic Missile if we don't play red, which is like a pretty good card. But I guess there's probably some decks where the opponents don't have low toughness creatures, and then maybe Hunter's Mark is better. So maybe what we'll do is we'll build the red-black deck, and then we'll build a black-green deck and just have it as something to sideboard into. That is something you often want to do in Sealed, is have like multiple versions of your deck. Oh yeah, there's also this Spike Pit Trap, which I could see sideboarding in. I don't know if I want to start it, but if the opponent has a bunch of really good quality creatures, we might bring in the Spiked Pit Trap. So this is 23. Our curve is a little bit high with all the 4-drops, although it's not awful. This is a lot of 4s though. I think... How many treasure makers do we have? Ghast is a treasure maker. Horde Robber's kind of a treasure maker. Thieves' Tools is a treasure maker. Grim Bounty's a treasure maker. All the Hoarding Ogres are treasure makers. So it is likely we would have access to green mana. And it is possible that we play the land. We could play this lair as a green source in our deck if we're splashing green. And then maybe we activate it off of a treasure sometime to win the game if we really need a creature. So that's something we could consider. I think our deck does want to be reasonably aggressive, which makes these Jaded Sellswords like actually interesting to me because they can be first striking and hasting. So what are the worst cards here? If we're a little bit more... Well, we don't have the 2-drop support, so we don't have to be that assertive. I think all these cards are good. I think we would basically be looking at cutting cards like some of these 4-drops. And the cards I would be excited to play would be like Troubadour and Hunter's Mark. Maybe we would end up splashing these Cursed Idol cards at some point. So if I want to play Hunter's Mark and Troubadour, and I take out... I don't want to take out too many Hoarding Ogres because they make treasures. And if we play these, we're going to be a little bit of a slower deck again. This doesn't really attack that well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 early drops plus some decent 3-drops. I wonder if we are supposed to be a little bit more of an aggressive deck. I think you probably need like a few more 2-drops compared to what we have if you want to be very aggressive. And like these cards are better than these. So what happens if we take out one of each? And play Troubadour plus Hunter's Mark to get an extra removal spell and a creature that gives us value every turn that we play lands. How much other venturing are we doing? Basically none, right? This kind of does it. I don't actually think Troubadour is that good in our deck. If we had other ways to venture, or we had the Precipitous drops, the 3-mana enchantment that gives something -2/-2, maybe Troubadour would be better, but I'm wondering if it's just not worth putting it in our deck. Hunter's Mark is something we could still splash off of treasures, but I don't know if Troubadour is actually that good. Like, you play this after you've found green mana, and then you get like a life and a scry, or a scry and a goblin. Like, don't get me wrong, this card's very, very good if you can play it. You should always play it, but to splash for it, I think that's a little bit weird. It also has 2 toughness when we're changing out like a 4/3, which is probably better. How close are we to playing Tiamat? We're red-black. We would need 3 treasures to play this card. And it can go get us 1 Jaded Sellsword. How often are we going to have 3 random treasures around? I guess if we play more Hoarding Ogres, we might be able to play Tiamat. But our deck also wants to be a little bit more aggressive. And having a 7-drop in your deck makes you less aggressive. So I think keeping the Hunter's Mark in is actually probably okay. I don't even need a green source. We could play this lair and potentially just use it as a colorless mana that becomes a creature. That actually seems fine to me. And then sometimes you'll use treasures to make it a creature. And then because of the green cards, I think I'll... Well, we already have 2 Hoarding Ogres. They work well with the Thieves' Tools. I think I might start with 4 Hoarding Ogres and see if that works out. So then in this case, we would want a couple more black sources than red, though we do have a couple double red cards. So just lands. I don't want any forests. And yeah, 8, 8, and 1. That actually seems decent to me. We're splashing the Hunter's Mark off of treasures plus 1 layer, which is also like being used to splash. So this might actually be decent. I'm just going to take a picture of this and put it into Paint. Save a copy of it. And I have a feeling that's going to be better than the green-black deck, but we will try the green-black deck as well, just to see. Because the creature quality in the green-black deck is higher than the red-black deck. The problem with the green-black deck is we get rid of Magic Missile, which is a pretty good removal spell. But let's see what green-black looks like, because the creatures are really good in green-black. So we would play Basilisk, goes well with the Hunter's Mark. We would play Troubadour. We would play both Owl Bears. We would play the Purple Worm. And we would have to add a couple more cards. I don't think these Herbalists are that good. Circle of the Moon Druid is a fine blocker, and the 4 power works nicely with Hunter's Mark, or if they can't block it early. Yeah, I guess maybe we'd have to play this 3-drop. We'll probably play Long Rest as well. Zombie Ogre. I don't think we're splashing anything here. Maybe we have to play the Spike Trap. I guess it's not that much worse than Fireball, right? Still costs 5 mana to deal 5 to something. Yeah, this deck's not looking awful. And then we probably want another card, another creature or something. Spawn or Deadly Dispute or Feign Death. I guess Feign Death is good with the Owl Bears because you get an extra card off of them. Good with Purple Worm because if they kill it, you can bring it back. Good with Troubadour because they want to kill it. Good with this. Actually, it's good with all the Death Touch creatures too. Maybe Feign Death is just good enough. Is that better than Deadly Dispute? Maybe. So maybe this would be our black-green deck, and the creature quality here is higher. A little bit. Like, the top end's better. The 2 Owlbears and the Troubadour are better than the Hoarding Ogres and the Sellsword, for sure. I think the Rust Monster and Hobgoblin Captain are better than these. I guess it just depends what your opponent's playing. If your opponent has more smaller creatures, the red deck probably better, but sealed tends to be slower, so having these really good 5-drops actually seems decent to me. We're missing out on the Goblin Morningstar, which is a good card. It gives anything trample. We're missing out on the Magic Missile, which is good against 3 toughness creatures or multiple smaller creatures. Everything else looks kind of the same, and we aren't splashing, so that's a little bit better. Creature curve, it's about the same. So maybe this deck is just better because of the Owlbears. Like 2 Owlbears drawing extra cards in sealed especially is really nice. Maybe it's a bit greedy with the Hoarding Ogres. Is Thieves' Tools good in this deck? Not as good. I guess it still makes the Yun Ti Fang Blades unblockable. Can make Zombie Ogre unblockable. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things that can be unblockable. Might be okay. I guess we could put in Vampire Spawn instead of this Druid to have an extra thing to be unblockable off of the Thieves' Tools. Thieves' Tools is also nice because it gives you a treasure, so you can play Owlbear on turn 4. That's kind of nice. Oh, we're missing a card still? This is 22. What did we take out? Oh, an owlbear. Oops. Okay, well, this green deck actually seems decent. Comparing it to what would the mana look like? With one layer. Yeah, the deck is mostly black. So our black ended up being really good, and then we're just picking between decent red and decent green. This one has better creatures. I think Magic Missile is the only thing we're really missing out on. And sometimes this card is just a deal 3, right? A lot of the time you're just killing like even like a Horde Robber with it, which doesn't always like feel that good. So if the opponent has a lot of 2 toughness creatures, I could see these first striking Rust monsters being better. And then maybe we would switch into red, but I'm actually liking the creature quality here a bit more. I think this has more late game. It has more owlbears, it has a purple worm, it has this long rest card. I think this deck is going to do better in the late game, whereas the other one seemed a little bit more aggressive to me. And it's hard to build a good aggressive deck in Sealed because your opponents just have really good powerful cards, and you don't usually have enough 2-drops. So I might actually go with this. What are we missing still? 9, 15, 16. Oh, 17. 16, 17 lands. Yeah. Okay. Well, this actually, in a dramatic turn of events, this looks a little bit better to start with. Based on the quality of the 4 and 5 drop creatures. And we can always switch our deck out if that ends up being wrong for the matchup. Assuming that we're playing best of 3. I actually didn't even think of that. I just assumed we had signed up for best of 3 and I didn't even look. So we're going to have to check that out. Right now. So yeah, let's lock this in and let's go ahead and jump into our best of 1. Okay, well, we're playing best of 1. So I think we'll just run the black-green deck. Sorry about that. I prefer best of 3 for Sealed, but here we are. And let's go ahead and jump in. And that is the value of building multiple decks in Sealed, and I highly encourage you to do that. Is like sometimes you don't know what's going to look better. You might go off like individual card quality and be like, oh yeah, we're definitely playing black-red. Look at the Magic Missile. But then you look at the entire pool you have, and it's like, well, we have more better cards for creatures in green, so I don't think that justifies having the 1 Magic Missile with worse creatures. But we'll see what happens here. Instantly double green. If we draw any black mana, we can play a lot of good cards. And Sealed tends to be a bit slower, so yeah, I'll keep this. It's going to look awful if we don't draw Black Source, but I think because we have like some good green cards to play later, even if we draw all green mana at this point, that's kind of okay. Yeah, it would be nice to have a swamp there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, perfect, right on time. So we can play our 3-drop. And if the opponent does nothing, we can start venturing, and if not, we have a pretty decent card in play. I'm playing a 1/1 Hawk here. Well, this is great, because we can attack in and start the venture train going. And I assume we just scry. Well, I mean, we do have the Thieves' Tools. Maybe we're supposed to go for the value. No, I assume we're just supposed to play it safe and do Lost Mine here. Ooh, good card. It doesn't, we can't cast it yet, but we can make some treasures, and that's the best card in our deck by far. And for that reason, I think I probably want to play the Thieves' Tools this turn. Or the Horde Robber. because this can attack it and make treasure and leave up the Hunter's Mark and the Spike Pit Trap. It's a little risky, but worst case scenario, we attack with both Horde Robber and Fangblade, and one of them can make a treasure, because if Fangblade connects, we make a treasure. If Horde Robber connects, we make a treasure, and then we can play our Westgate Regent next turn, which is huge. Like, if the opponent doesn't kill this right away, they're going to have a tough time beating it. And now that we're almost at 5 mana, there's no reason not to play this Spiked Pit Trap. And yeah, let's go ahead and smash in and see what we can do here. Oh, great. Well, we're going to make a treasure off of the Horde Robber. And we're going to... Do we need a 1/1 Goblin here? I guess it's an extra creature that can be unblockable later. It can die and Purple Worm can come out. Or do I just want to make sure I have enough mana to use Spike Pit Trap? I'll probably just make the treasure, because I'm going to use one of my treasures this turn. And I want to make sure I can play a 5-drop next turn as well. So let's go ahead and drop Westgate Regent. Opponent a little bit stuck on mana, but they do have 3 mana. I feel like they're probably just flooded with expensive cards. Oh, Clattering. Oh, they're splashing red maybe. So maybe they were mana screwed and didn't have a black source. Is it worth it to use Hunter's Mark this turn to kill the 1/1? Or do we just let them block the Regent? We probably just let them block the Regent. And I'm going to attack with Fangblade. If they want to trade off, that's fine, because then we can play Purple Worm. That is one of the nice things about this Fangblade having Death Touch, is that like you can just attack with it. If your opponent blocks, it's not the worst thing for you. So, oh, they're going to take the 4 and let this thing get up to 8 counters. That's awesome. I guess maybe they want to try and find a removal spell for this. So they're going to do the Scry. And now that something's died, let's just play our Purple Worm and pass the turn. No trample on this guy, but it's pretty tough to deal with. And then, assuming nothing else happens, we could always Hunter's Mark something. Okay, so they do have the Grim Bounty for the Regent, which is totally fine. They discard a Ray. If this was best of 3, I would be making note of this stuff, but it's not, so I don't really have to pay that much attention, I guess. Now they chump the Purple Worm, I guess. Is it worth just using Hunter's Mark right now, getting in for 9? This makes a treasure. Or maybe we should save Hunter's Mark in case they play a crazy creature next turn that we can't beat. Yeah, we probably just want... Oh, we also have Spike Pit Trap. Let's do that. Just smash in and make it even harder for the opponent to come back. It's not that they can't, but if they play something like a really good creature, we can get it with Hunter's Mark. Either from our Worm or from Fangblade plus Hunter's Mark. So, yeah, and if this is all they're doing this turn, that's fine. Oh, we can... Oh, okay. Well, we'll just use Hunter's Mark on Horde Robber and attack for 2. Even if the opponent didn't have a creature, I think we could do this play, but I think we could just give it +1/+1 and attack or fight nothing. But awesome. Well, that deck ran really nicely. Really happy with how everything played out. Good amount of treasures. The venturing off of the Death Toucher was nice. Purple Worm, 8/7 for 5 mana. Awesome. And that actually has a nice little synergy with the Yang T Fang Blades, because eventually the opponent is going to want to block these, and when they do, something dies and we can play a 5 mana 8/7. That's really nice. So yeah, pretty happy with how that deck played out. Happy we put the Spiked Pit Trap in as well, just to have some extra removal. And yeah, we'll just run this one back and see what we can do. We're not going to play the red deck. If we are doing best of 3, there's a chance we would sideboard into the red deck, but because we're doing best of 1, we won't be doing that. So apologize for that. I did intend to do the best of 3 sealed, but here we are. Hope everyone out there's having a nice day. I hope you all got a chance to play some sealed as well. They aren't doing live events here in Calgary yet, but I know some places in the States and some other places were doing in-person pre-releases, and I hope you guys got a chance to go play some sealed and have some fun with that. Ooh, okay, well this is nice. 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, manland. Seems good. This comes into play tapped if it's your 3rd land or more, and we do want to play this 1-drop, so we're going to go swamp, 1-drop, then Lair of the Hydra on turn 2 plus Horde Robber, and that way we get the least punished for like things coming into play tapped. 3-drop, Thieves Tools, and that is why we put the Vampire Spawn in there, not because it was like better than Circle of the Moon Druid, but because we can use the Thieves Tools to crack in for damage with it. Although I imagine we're probably using Thieves Tools on Horde Robber most of the time just to build up some treasures. Helps us double spell or play expensive stuff sooner. So let's go ahead and attack for 2. Boom. And get the Horde Robber down. Yeah, this seems like a decent hand for our deck. Ooh, 2/3. Not great. We can bluff attack with the 1/3. I assume they block here, but yeah. You never know. Sometimes your opponent might get freaked out, but. And then next turn we can play Thieves Tools, equip it to Horde Robber, and start pecking in for damage. Or we can equip it to the 2/1 and hit for damage and attack with everything. There is also a thought to playing Fang Blade first, because then this with Thieves Tools is really good for us. So actually, I might just attack with my my creatures here. I guess we could technically... No, we need an extra land. This could be a 2/2, and that's not big enough. But we can attack with both of these. And Guardian of Faith. That's a card I would definitely write down. So they're going to block and kill Horde Robber with their 3/2. Okay, well, that's definitely a card I would write down if we were playing best of 3, but we aren't, so not going to worry about it. And yeah, the plan is, as I said, play Thieves Tools next turn and start attacking with Fangblade and Venture every turn. This Dungeon Crawler trades with this, so they don't want to attack there. I don't even know if they do attack this turn. And then we can leave Spawn back to block as well. Okay, well 3/4 is pretty big. But, I mean, if they attack with this, we can double block with our creatures. They kill one thing, so... Looks like we're going to just get aggressive with the Fang Blade and the Thieves Tools. And then if they play something insane, we get the Grim Bounty. I'm not really worried about them attacking once and getting a scry off of this. That's not that big of a deal to me. We obviously don't want them to get the pack tactics triggered that often and venture a whole bunch. But doing it once is fine, especially because we'll get to like double block one of their creatures or something. So. Hey, Patty Laddie. Yeah, we're doing a black-green deck. Thieves' Tools and some Venturing, Purple Worm, a couple of Owl Bears. Here, I mean, if we get to do this every turn, I don't really need to scry that much. This one is very good. But if they don't have an answer for Fangblade, maybe we can get a ton of value off Mad Mage, so let's try it. Patty Laddie, how's your day going? We drafted not draft. Sorry, this is sealed. We sealed did a pretty decent deck. Huh. If they attack with just Dungeoneer, does that mean they don't have a combat trick? Like maybe they're happy to trade off. But if they have a combat trick, they would attack with everything and try and get us. Are they bluffing us right now? I mean, if I attack with both and they have nothing, they kill this and we're fine. The opponent's like doing circles. Making fun of us. I don't know if I should block here. I mean, I have this to try and like bail us out, so whatever. We'll just block. They might have something. They might have like next leveled us where this happens, but they might also just run their 3/4 into ours. Yeah, that's fine. Not really worried about that. That's a little bit annoying because of this, because we do want to venture a bunch, and they might just start tapping it. So I think what we're going to do is use Grim Bounty on the Monk. If that was their best play on turn 5, I'm not that worried about them playing something worse. Oh, sweet, Patty Light. You're on vacation till the 3rd. That's awesome. Are you sticking around home, or are you headed out somewhere else? And now, I guess if nothing else happens, we can start animating the Hydra, which can be... So it has to be untapped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can make a 4/4. I don't think I want to attack with Hydra as a 4/4. I guess we could make it a 6/6, and then they have to block with 2 things, and we lose 2 treasures in Hydra, and we get rid of 2 blockers. That's not awful. I mean, if we draw a land here, I think we just animate the Hydra. Because they're at a low enough life total that, like, if we make this, well, maybe they're attacking. I don't mind blocking here. Like, I'll trade my 2/1 for their 3/2. That's totally fine. I guess maybe I should have thought if they have like a if something died this turn card, but it didn't look like they did. Let's start by attacking. And target creature can't attack until your next turn. Okay. So our opponent is gonna block it now because it no longer has unblockable. That's kind of okay with me. And we still get to venture off of it. That's kind of okay with me. Now we've got the little shambling gas that could. because it's going to be unblockable. And we can start animating Hydra. Staycation, Patty Laddie? Right on. I like the staycation. It's nice sometimes just to spend time at home without thinking about work and stuff. Oh, well, Troubadour's good. Obviously, we're going to Kraken for 1. This needs to be a 7/7. It's a thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can make it a 7/7 this turn, and they have to block and then roll the dice. I think I would rather play Troubadour this turn. So I'm just going to attack them. I would rather play Troubadour and then use all our treasures next turn, because we can only attack with a 7/7 once. And yeah, I guess, I mean, it does give them a chance to put more creatures in play. And this is going to be kind of annoying if they ever get to return it to their hand. Oh, that's a weird attack. No blocks. Prowler, okay. Well, now we don't have to use all of our treasures for our Hydra. We can make it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can make it a 5/5. Do I attack with Troubadour? We're gonna to scry 2 if they don't kill it. So I might just make this a 5/5. Oops. And I don't think I'm going to attack with the Troubadour here. I don't want them to just trade with Prowler. I would rather get the Scry too. Do we even attack with Ghast? Like, because they're actually going to hit us for quite a bit next turn. I might actually hold the Shambling Ghast back. Just to block and kill the Loathsome Troll. I don't think it's worth dealing 1 and then potentially losing to them playing a whole bunch of creatures. So, ooh, there's our boy. Patty Laddie, are you gonna do a bunch of drafts on your staycation, or are you gonna like abstain from the magic? We could probably take a hit here, right? There are cards that like double something's power, and then we'd be at 12 or down 12 to 5. But I think that's okay. Be a little bit patient here, because Westgate Region is just going to come down and kill them. So, okay, Planar Ally. Yeah, that's fine. And we can make a 3/3 Hydra and trade off for Planar Ally. Actually seems okay. If they want to trade for Planar Ally, I'm okay with that. Because then Westgate Regent can get through unblocked. Oh, and okay. So now we have the Hydra. So, I mean, this can be a 5, and this can be 6, so that's 12. So that's actually lethal there. So we'll just block the bigger one, I guess. Oh, sorry, this can be a 4/4. That's right. Oh, and they actually get it back to their hand. Okay, that's pretty good. And then they're just off it. Because they block, we block, and then we kill them, maybe? Alright, well, that went okay. Opponent made some interesting plays there, but they're trying to do the best they can with what they have, and that's one of the things about sealed, especially on arena. I find that there isn't a ton of people playing sealed, especially like a ton of competitive players don't tend to play sealed because, again, like the prizes are just so awful. Like you build a sweet deck and you go 7-0 and you get 200 gems. Like that isn't really worth it for a lot of people. So I find people that are playing sealed are trying to build their collection and practice and get a sense of like what competitive limited tournaments are like. So you tend to run into people that sometimes aren't as like proficient. It's totally fine. So you will have some weird matchups, but you have enough gems for a couple drafts. Nice. Do you think you're gonna do Adventures in the Forgotten Realms drafts, or do you think you're gonna like use them on some of the other draft formats, some of the quick drafts? I'm trying to think what's out right now. Maybe it's also Adventures in the Forgotten Realms right now, the quick draft. I know that they were doing Zendikar Rising for a bit. Oh, hey, Maverick. The AFR quick drafts are out in a week or so. Right on. Yeah, I've certainly been enjoying the AFR drafts. This hand looks great. We have all our mana, 1-drop, 2-drop, and then some nice 4-drops. So definitely not unhappy with this. We've been really fortunate with our opening hands, and even that, I think it was the first game, we had to keep 2 forests and a bunch of black cards, and we ended up drawing a swamp on turn 3, so we've been pretty lucky. Ooh, a 3-1. Well, I'm just going to attack, because I don't mind trading off, and there is a world where they play the bugbear, the hulking bugbear, the 3/3, and attack, and this thing is first strike. Okay, I guess they're not doing that, but yeah, I'll block here. This thing has a chance to be scary later. It can be unblockable if they have other creatures, so just happy to trade a 2-1 for a 3-1. Seems good to me. Grim Wanderer, hey? Well, now we're probably going to kill that because that's bigger than... Well, I guess this trades with it. I wonder if we're supposed to take a hit for 5 here and then play skeletons next turn. I mean, if we're not doing anything else with our mana, I don't know, it's kind of tough to say. It's a bit of a gamble because if they play something better than this, right now we are going to be unhappy, but okay, we 5-3 into a 4-3, that's totally fine with me. And now we probably... Do we want to play this Death Priest first or this Clattering Skeletons? It is nice to get the extra triggers off of this. So we could play this now. This 3/5 blocks the 4/3 well, so I don't really want to block with my Clattering Skeletons anyway, because I have a creature that can block this on its own. But then if I play the Death Priest, it opens it up to removal. And I don't have an extra mana to spend on this anyway. So I'll just play this one, and I don't think I'm going to block here. I think I'll just wait to play the 3/5 because it blocks the Sellsword better. Yeah, this is fine. And then next turn we'll play a 3/5, which is pretty big. And then we can start getting some sweet death triggers. Like we can attack with dungeon. Ooh. The talisman, no. Card's good. Especially if they put it here. We might have to start blocking. I was just going to say we'll have good death triggers because we'll venture and get a skeleton every turn. This forces them to put the talisman here, and then we'll probably just trade for our skeletons. Because I want to kill as many of their creatures as possible so that this card is worse. And if I attack with skeletons here, then I can't block this, and they get an extra turn of draining us. So I'm not going to attack here. Whatever they put this on, I'll block on clattering skeletons. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I want to, even though this isn't a great trade for me, I want to trade off as much as I can because I don't want them to have a bunch of creatures and be able to keep doing that. For the same reason, I'm going to get the 1/1 here as fast as I can. So scry, and then eventually get a 1/1 goblin. Definitely don't want a swamp. We can even double block this with like Dungeon Crawler plus Ghast. Okay, this is going to have Menace and Death Touch. That's really annoying. I guess we could attack with Zombie Ogre to try and kill something. And then if it dies, we can start the skeleton train. We could attack with both, and then maybe they just eat this and we make a 2/2. Is that better than just playing this? Like, this blocks this really well. I don't want to have to double block this, but it's kind of unavoidable at this point. And I would rather double block with a skeleton in this than this. Kind of tough to say. I'll just attack. And then play 2 creatures. Because there's no death trigger. So I'll hold this in my hand, and then if they attack with Armory Veteran, I'll double block with Ghast and Dungeon Crawler. They'll kill both, and we'll get an extra treasure. Because this talisman is super scary. It's super hard to race against that, so. I guess there's no reason not to block with the Basilisk. Like, they could kill these 2 and leave this back, but I don't want them to have a removal spell for this and then we don't kill it, so I'll just triple block. We do lose our, like, better Death Toucher, but this 3/5 blocks the 4/3 anyway. And they just keep having creatures, eh? Now I don't think we attack at all. If they suit this up, we block with Ghast. If they suit this up, we block with Zombie Ogre. Oh yeah, our stuff gets huge. That's right. Maybe it is worth attacking with Zombie Ogre. And then if they attack with this, we block. If they attack with this, we can block and get trade. Yeah, let's do that. Happy to do this now. If they draw a removal spell for Death Priest, that's bad for us, but I mean, we're kind of both on the top deck plan, so boom, boom, boom. Boom. I wonder what's going to happen here. -1/-1 to you. Nice. Okay, well that was totally worth it. And now we attack with Zombie Ogre. Smash in. And then we're going to play Owlbear, which basically has to block Hexblade if they attack with it. But they didn't equip this, so maybe they have like a Dragon's Fire or something that they're going to use on Death Priest. Yeah. Oh, wow. Called it. That's okay. Still okay with that. Owlbear blocks Hexblade. And then we still have a 3/5 to smash in with. Or do we want to use the spike pick trap here and have 2 big creatures? That's probably better. We risk them playing another creature this turn, but if they don't have another creature, I would rather use my removal spell on the 2/2 and have 2 big creatures in play. Although this way we go down to 4. Oof. We could save this for their next creature and just chip in for 3 at a time. I don't know what we're supposed to do here. I don't really want to go down to 4. Three mana. Ugh. No, I'm just gonna take it. And nice. And just hope they don't play another creature. Oh, great. That's awesome. So let's use this spike pick trap right away. And just make sure that this thing's gonna die. And then smash in for 7. We do have to worry about a potential haste creature, but... Oh, right on. Let's play a 1/1. Now we don't have to worry about it. I was just going to say that the haste creatures in the format are like a 3/3 haste, which doesn't kill us. Although I guess if they equip Reaper's Talisman, it would have. And the 4/3 haste, but they need a treasure for that. So we do want to leave a creature back just in case they have... Oh, that's not good. Oh, and trample. Okay. Well, we didn't expect that, but I think we played correctly. Like, I don't think we're going to beat Price of Loyalty there regardless. I guess the only way we play around that is by not using the spike pit trap right away. If we had just saved it and then they use Price of Loyalty... Like, if they go to attacks, we use it to kill Hexblade. If they try to do Price of Loyalty, we use Spike Pit Trap on the Owlbear. Yeah, probably shouldn't have used the Spike Pit Trap right away, but I think not blocking with the Owlbear that one turn was the right decision, because that gives us a lot more board presence, like 2 good creatures in play, and... It's kind of tough to say, actually. I thought having the 1/1 Goblin would have been enough, because there aren't that many creatures with trample in this set. But then, obviously, they use Price of Loyalty on our Owlbear, so that's yeah, that was probably something worth thinking about. The Price of Loyalty play. So. Yeah. Yeah, Patty Laddie, we were psychic in calling the Dragon's Fire and then completely lost our clairvoyance on the Price of Loyalty. So this is fine. This is one of our worst hands, but we have a creature we can play in a removal spell and kind of 2 removal spells, and that's not something I'm gonna mulligan in sealed very often, or in draft really. So, ooh, Troubadour's good too. Horde Robber. Well, now we're going to lead on Fangblade because it prevents them from bluff attacking with the Horde Robber. And if we can hit them back and start venturing, that's kind of nice. Okay. Well, Magic Missile's fine. Next turn we play Troubadour and Venture, which is pretty good. And we'll take the Scry. See if we can get a land for Zombie Ogre. Ooh, Fangblade is not bad, especially if we expect to be venturing a bunch. We do want another land, but we can get there eventually, and we already have a Hunter's Mark, so I think I might actually keep the Death Touch here. Hunter's Mark is also really good with Death Touch. If they attack, I probably block. Like, what could they do if we block that they can't do already? Except maybe, like, bring this back as a 2/4. Okay, Grim Bounty. That's fair. Yeah, I assume they top decked the Price of Loyalty last game, Patty Waddy. Which is, I mean, good for them. I mean, that's going to happen, right? So, yeah, I mean, we'll just play this. Eventually, our opponent's going to run out of removal spells, right? They have to. I mean, we only have 4 removal spells in our deck, and if their deck is fair, then they only have 4 removal spells, and they already used 2 of them, so. Uplog, if they want to play something to kill this, that's kind of okay with me. Maybe they have something that's like if a creature died or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. You got it. Now I really want to draw land. Although spawn plus Hunter's Mark is fine too, but let's play the 3/5 here. We do want to use the Spike Pit Trap as soon as we can because red does have that common barbarian, the chest opening barbarian that can destroy artifacts and or make a treasure, and we would rather them not just randomly blow up our Spike Pit, so probably going to try and use this as soon as possible. Probably even next turn, because then we can get an extra venture off of Zombie Ogre and make ourselves a 1/1. To us. Ooh, the Duke. 7/3. Oh no! No! Oh, they had it. Oh no. I shouldn't have said anything. Just end up like jinxing myself. We're gonna use Hunter's Mark on the Duke because I don't want to get hit for 7 trample. Do we offer them the trade? And then if they go to trade, we can Hunter's Mark the Manticore? Like, if they want to trade here, that's totally fine, right? Oh, I should have used it first, because we could have dealt an extra point of damage to them. That was a mistake, but... yeah, I should have dealt the extra damage to them. Sorry about that. We're going to take 4, but then we have a 3/5, and we'll have a 2/3 that gains us life. Eventually, we can start attacking with Lair. So, oh man, I can't believe they had this just as I was talking about that. Boo. But hey, I mean, this card is good. Like, and it's good and sealed. We didn't have any in our pool, but sometimes your opponents just have random artifacts, right? So, card is good. We'll just make a 1/1 here. It might be useful this game, but I don't think we really need a treasure that badly. I mean, worst case scenario, we can always attack with this 1/1, and if they trade off, we get to keep venturing. That's not bad. Opponent does nothing with 3 cards in hand. That's always a little bit scary, right? Do you think they have another Manticore? They can block here and play Manticore. I'm just going to attack with the 1/1. Joke's on you, we have the Manticore. No, just kidding. Okay, I'll play this 2/3. Drain for 2, get to venture. And I think... like, the opponent definitely has something here. I would try for the counter, the +1/+1 counter to put on Zombie Ogre to pull it out of Fireball range. But if they currently have the Fireball in their hand, then we kind of get wrecked by that. So I'm going to put the counter on the spawn instead. I would like to put it on the 3/5, but if they have a deal 5 damage to something, I don't want to lose the counter. So. Oh, Deadly Dispute. Okay, that's fine. Well, if we draw nothing else, we can animate the Hydra. Oh, they're attacking again. So they must have something. Oh, a gelatinous cube is quite nice. But they can't dissolve whatever they take. So this turn anyway. So it would be nice to get a counter. And we'll definitely attack. A removal spell, I mean. But we've already used 2 of ours. Okay. Well, we're just gonna make a big Hydra. 4, 5, 6, 7, so we can make a 6/6. And smash in with both. And if they trade off here, we get the 3/5 back. If not, they take 9. And then this has to be blocked next turn, so they have to spend 6 mana. And do nothing on their turn if they don't want us to have the 3/5 back. Because they do have to block the Hydra. Okay. Wow, interesting. I might just attack with the 3/4, honestly. Like, because if I make this Hydra 6/6, they can't kill it with 1 card. They could play a Manticore and kill it, and then we have to block here and take 2. I wonder if it's better to attack with the spawn. Are they just holding up the 6 mana for this, and then they lose? I can't see them losing to this. Is there any other instant speed effect? I guess the deadly or the thing that doesn't kill dragons. Power word kill. So I'm just gonna attack with the 3/4 and then play Horde Robber. I'm a little bit worried about what they did, and hey, maybe we had them there, and that's a reason not to concede. Like, they attacked us, they got super aggressive, and we played differently. So that's a reason not to concede against your opponents if you even if they're dead here to like our Hydra or something. They're probably just gonna dissolve the zombie ogre. If they don't and they attack, we can make a 4/4 and block cube. Like, spawn is lethal on its own. It has to be blocked by something. They might have power word kill and kill Horde Robber, but then they can hit us for 6. That's kind of okay. Because then Vampire Spawn is still lethal. This is still lethal. So we currently have 3 lethal, or no, 2 lethal creatures. Never mind. So they have to leave something back to block with. And they didn't use their mana to dissolve the zombie ogre. That's interesting. This card's really good, by the way. But they could have paid 6 there to get rid of the 3/5, and then if we do kill the cube, we don't get it back. Okay, well, I'm gonna make the Hydra and block. As a 4/4. Because we'll get the 3/5 back if we block. If they use their removal on Hydra, maybe that means they don't have enough mana. Oh, what if it's a fire? Well, maybe it is the fireball that we thought they had before, and then they deal 6 plus 2. So we have to block regardless. So if they kill Hydra right now with fireball, we have to block, but then we still deal 3 to them and win. So I don't know. I'm a little bit confused about what's going on right now. So we'll just do the best we can. Like, if they tap 6 to dissolve the zombie ogre, we win, because they can't play anything else. If they don't do that, we'll have 2 lethal attackers, the 3/4 and the 3/5. So they have to play 2 creatures here, or deal 5 damage to us. Barbarian. That's 1. Yeah, they have 4 mana. They can play another creature. What do they have? What do you have? What do they have? They have something. Is it just the fireball? I don't know. We're gonna leave this back to block. I mean, if they fireball us down to 3... Oh, pair of goblins. Okay. That's still okay. That's what they had. And now we get to draw a card. That's nice. Crawler's not the card I would have picked, but hey, I'll take it. And now we still have 2 lethal creatures. Yeah, I think the opponent definitely made a mistake the turn that they had 6 mana up at the end of our turn and didn't dissolve the ogre. Because this game, like, we would have lost, right? Like, we wouldn't have this ogre. We couldn't have attacked with the 3/4. They would have played their goblins. Oh, and they do have the fireball. Okay, well, we lose then. Because we take 4 and lose. Interesting. Wow. We kind of thought they had a fireball. I don't know. Maybe they just drew it, but maybe we should have played around a removal spell there. I guess we were 1 removal spell away from dying, but we had to be a little bit aggressive with our 3-power creatures because they had a flyer, and if we didn't get aggressive with them, they would just chip us down for 2 every turn. So that's a situation where even if they have a removal spell, we kind of have to be aggressive. Because yeah, any removal spell there wouldn't have been good for us. Even if it wasn't fireball, they would have hit us down to 1. So I guess that would have been better. So it had to be exactly the fireball that they had to kill us there. So that's fine. That will happen. Opponent's last deck was quite good with the cube and the fireball, and they killed our spike pit trap. I can't believe it. This is fine. Feign Death, where were you last game? We don't have green, but we also don't have any green cards, so 2-drop, 3-drop, and other stuff is pretty good here. Horde Robber attacks into Arcane Investigator pretty well. If they attack, we'll block. Oh, Soul Knife Spy is a good one. That's definitely a card we'll probably block with the Fang Blade. It's because I don't really want them drawing extra cards. If they don't attack and we can leave Feign Death up, that's kind of nice because, like, blocking with Horde Robber and making it a 2/4 is going to be pretty good against them. Makes it a good attacker and a good blocker. If they attack with the spy, we'll block because we don't want them drawing extra cards. I think they had to mulligan at the beginning. 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh no, we have the same number of cards. Never mind. Ooh, that would have been the turn to get a green mana. Well, maybe that's enough of a reason to... Well, I don't really want to attack Yuan-Ti into this. But we can always play Feign Death and then hold up Power Word Kill. That's probably a good enough reason to attack. I kind of want the green source for this. Oh, Dragon Turtle's good. Yeah, sure. Well, that's the card we're going to kill with... Oh, we can't! It's a dragon! Oh, we got wrecked. We got wrecked. So now we're on all defense. And we're going to do the thing that I said before. We're going to block Soul Knife Spy with Horde Robber. And use Feign Death to make it 2/4. Because then a 2/4 can block this really nicely. It blocks this really nicely later on. It uses our mana. Thieves' Tools is decent. If they use Thieves' Tools to equip Soul Knife Spy, I'll use Power Word Kill. And this is when it deals combat damage. This is enough of a threat because an unblockable creature that deals 3 damage every turn and draws them a card is a real bad thing for us. So it's definitely worth using our removal spell there. And yeah, it might be necessary to play this right now. Ooh. Well, we can attack and try and get a treasure for the Dragon Turtle. If not, we eat their 2/1. That's kind of okay. Yeah, this is fine. And then next turn, if we draw a land, we can play Ogre. I don't really want to play Troubadour without playing a land because it's just a 4-mana 4/2 otherwise. Like, I would rather get the first scry off of this card, so... I guess if they try to kill Yuan-Ti, we can use Feign Death. Okay, Elemental's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Swing for 2. Nice. Well, it comes into play tapped, but we can still play it. Like, we could play this tapped and then use our treasure to play Troubadour. Eventually, this is going to be an issue, but not right now. And this, it doesn't attack particularly well, but we can use Feign Death on this and make it a 5/3. That's not awful. So we're definitely playing our land this turn. This, we don't really want... Like, this is going to block here. I guess we could attack with Horde Robber, and they can be scared of us playing a Manticore. But I don't really want to block this with Troubadour, so... Like, do you think it's worth attacking them for the treasure? And they can always use Thieves' Tools to make Arcane Investigator unblockable. So leaving the Horde Robber back on blocks isn't even that, like, great of a plan. Okay, that's fine. So we do get the Venture off of Troubadour. And we'll go Scrying. And I do want a 5th land for Spike Trap and Zombie Ogre. So we'll leave that there. And hope they don't do anything too insane. They might even offer this trade. I mean, we're not going to trade with Troubadour. This card's too good. And if we untap with Feign Death up, that's pretty nice for us. So I think I'm probably just going to play land and kill the Air Cult Elemental next turn. With the Spiked Pit Trap. Okay, well, another flyer. That's kind of annoying. That's better to kill with the Spiked Pit Trap because it has more power than this. Even though this is a better blocker, we're currently on defense, and this is going to kill us much faster than this card. So yeah, okay. They're not attacking with the 2/5. That's kind of okay. So we're going to use the trap to kill the 3/3. No reason to attack with the Horde Robber because we'll be tapped out at that point. So let's just go ahead and do this right now. And we get a treasure, so we can use Feign Death if we have to. That's not bad. And we're going to get to Venture off of Troubadour. That's nice. Make a 1/1. I don't think making the treasure there would have made sense. But maybe... I mean, we do have a lot of cards in our hand. Maybe we do want the treasure to try and double spell. Like, play multiple cards next turn. Well, at least they're scared to attack with the 2/5. Because we do have, like, good attackers here. Well, the Displacer Beast's a good one. Hey, Trent, how's it going? We're doing a little bit of sealed deck action, and we're currently 2-2 in a best of 1. So we're trying to fight for our lives and keep it going. I guess at some point Basilisk can attack. Like, maybe we're supposed to play Fangblade and Basilisk and attack with these Death Touchers and then get the triggers off of Zombie Ogre. That is probably the best thing to do. Another land. Keep the Troubadour train rolling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At some point we can make this a 4/4. That's not great now. If we draw another land, it can be a 5/5, which is decent. So I think we're not attacking. I think we're just playing Death Touch creatures, and then next turn attack with the Death Touchers. If they die, we'll get triggers off of Zombie Ogre. That also leaves a mana up for Feign Death in case something funky happens. I don't think we attack with Horde Robber. Rather block with that card, so we'll just pass. We're going to put a 1/1 counter on, I guess, Troubadour. Because then Troubadour can attack into this 3/2 pretty well. That makes sense to me. It also doesn't die to the Precipitous drop, the -2/-2 enchantment. It can attack into the 2/5 if we ever get rid of this 3/2. Yeah, I think putting the counter here makes sense. Doesn't make sense really to go anywhere else. So yeah, that's right. Toss a coin to the Daily Travesty. I wasn't so sure about the Witcher series when I first started watching it. Like, the first episode was just, it was like a little bit too violent, I thought. It seemed like kind of off-brand. And then so I didn't end up watching the series, and then some people I know said, no, actually it's more like adventuring and stuff. It's just the first episode was very different because they were setting the scene. So I'm glad that I later on went back to it and tried it out. All right, well, let's just start smashing. And if they don't want to block, we can venture. And if they do want to block, we can venture. So really, let's just get in there and do some adventuring. If they block Displacer Beast to Young T, that's fine, because then our Troubadour can start getting in. Yeah, this is fine with me. I mean, they can just bounce it to their hand, but that's kind of okay. Actually, I guess that's kind of bad for us. Shocking Grasp. Oof. Well, now is as good a time as any to use Feign Death, so... I mean, they can just bounce this if they want to, but then we still have the 2/2 in play, and we don't have to pay mana for it next turn, so... Even though it won't be a 3/3, a 2/2 and a 3/3... Oh, okay. Got a little tit for tat going on here. I mean, if Feign Death is the card they want to counter, that's kind of okay with me, because we're still going to get to venture off of Zombie Ogre, so... Yeah, that's right, Trent. I agree with you. It grew on me a little bit as it went on. Oh, double venture? Woo-wee. Look at us go. Let's draw a card. And then we are in a bit of a damage race with this unblockable 2/1, so I think I'm probably going to go into Mad Mage Dungeon territory here. There's also higher upside doing this now. Getting an extra 1/1 doesn't really help us, and this other stuff doesn't really help, so... I'm going to go into the Mad Mage's Dungeon. Gain a life. And now we can actually attack with this 1/1, because if it dies, like, that's fine. We can get extra venturing. I was definitely glad I finished the series, Patty Laddie, and I'm looking forward to the second season, which is supposed to be coming out pretty soon. We will play the Dungeon Crawler because it blocks the 3/2 pretty well, even though they're not really attacking with it. Oh, no, we got this. I don't think we attack with the 3/5. Ooh, okay. No cards in hand. Westgate Regent. Let's go. Even if they draw a removal spell, they can't cast it because this has a ward. Yeah. All right. Well, the game was a little bit more fair, but this card on this board is going to be really good. I think we still attack with the Basilisk. I don't think we attack with Troubadour. Is attacking for 1 really that... I mean, they just let the 1 damage through, right? Do we attack with Zombie Ogre? And then they double block and we kill this. And then they just bounce it. I assume if we attack, they just bounce their things. So there isn't actually a reason to attack them right now. So let's just play a Westgate Regent. Oh yeah, you binge watched it. Yeah, so I watched the first episode with some people and I was like, a little bit violent. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not what I wanted to watch. And then it was like several months went by, and then I watched the next episode and then proceeded to binge watch it. Okay, well, I guess they actually do get to draw a card off of Arcane Investigator. That's something I forgot about. So maybe we shouldn't have celebrated so quick. Because now if they have a removal spell here, they can pay the ward cost. Come on, one time. Our opponent needs to be unlucky once in their life, right? And not draw a removal spell plus another card here. Like, come on. No, what? Come on. Come on. Why? Why is it always me? No, just kidding. I know that plenty of people have suffered from this exact situation, so it reminds me of when I played in the Kaldheim Arena Open, and I was like trying to qualify for day 2. I had played a couple sealed pools. I wasn't qualifying, And then at like 9 o'clock at night or something, I was sitting there. I was like, okay, I'll do one more. And I opened up the coma, the world's. Of course, we draw land. I opened up the coma, the Cosmos Serpent, which is awesome. And then the game, I got to play it. There was one turn for my opponent to kill it, and they like sacked something, drew a card, scryed, and ended up drawing into the exile spell, the one exile spell they had in their deck. And I was just like, oh, this is awful. Okay, well, they can't bounce Displacer Beast this turn, so we might as well attack with Lair of the Hydra. And we have nothing else to do with our mana, so it's going to be massive. 4, 5, 6. Could be a 6/6, and then they block with these 3 things, and we kill this and this. If it's a 7/7, we can kill these 2. That is slightly better. So I think I will spend the treasure this turn. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think I will spend the treasure. I guess it's worth it. So. Even if they just chump block with Dungeon Crawler, that's one less creature for them to have next turn. So go to attacks. Attack with the 7/7. And I guess the Basilisk now can attack. I don't want to attack with Troubadour and just trade for this, especially because we played a land this turn. Zombie Ogre gets blanked or gang blocked. And we kill this with it. That's not worth it. So they're going to chump block. We're going to get an extra venture off Zombie Ogre, which is going to give us a couple scries as well. So they can take 7, and we get 2 ventures. That's awesome. Scry 1. Nope. Yeah, no, we don't need that. Well, actually, venturing's pretty good, but we're gonna get to venture regardless. We're gonna draw lands regardless. I don't think it's worth keeping one on top here. And target creature can't attack us seems pretty good right now. Let's make their... Well, they can make this unblockable. Then they have to switch this and they attack with this and their blocks aren't as good. Yeah. If this can't attack and they want to switch Thieves' Tools here, that's fine. They attack us for 3, but then that means Goblin, Horde Robber, and Troubadour can attack. And the opponent is going to be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, we could certainly lose to, like, Displacer Beast being unblockable, plus this is also technically unblockable because we don't have flyers, but I think making... Okay, well, we'll just take a turn. Ooh, yes! A little thief tool of our own. That makes Zombie Ogre unblockable, which is pretty good. This blocks this. This could block that. We're not attacking with Troubadour. This is a good blocker for that. Yeah, I think Zombie Ogre gets the unblockable go-ahead here. And make a treasure. I'm doing the Zombie Ogre, even though this is a great blocker, it's the thing with the most power that can be unblockable, and we do want to try and pressure our opponent. This Hydra can be a 3/3, which isn't worth it, so let's go to attacks here. And if we attack with Horde Robber, they block here and nothing happens. If we attack with Horde Robber and Goblin, they might take 5 this turn, or they block something and we can venture into Scry 2. If we attack with those and they don't block and they take 5, this still blocks here, or we take 5 maximum. Yeah, I think I might actually do this. I think it's worth venturing at this point to get the Scry 2. And we still have pretty good blockers. We can also block with Lair of the Hydra, so I'm okay with this. And if they eat our Goblin token, that is okay by me. Because we'll get the venture off the Zombie Ogre. Yeah, that's kind of okay. That's okay. Oh, so they're going to eat both of them. I guess I hadn't thought about that, but I'm still okay with this. End the turn. Scry 2. Now we're rolling. Like, I mean, any other venturing. Oh, nice. Vampire spawn here is actually awesome. Gain a bit of life, drain them for 2, put them to 6, and then that's a 2-turn clock on the 3/5. That's pretty good. I mean, the opponent does get to draw cards here, but they can hit us for 3, 4, 5, and then we lose to them next turn. They think, except we're going to gain 2 life. Yeah, this is a close game. This is a good close game. If they start attacking with everything, though, we can always attack with Troubadour as well. And we have the Hydra to attack with. So I think we're still doing okay. But we'll see what they do here. Hydra can be a 3/3. Alright, 2 to us. No blocks, because we can't block. What happens if we venture again? We get multiple skeletons, or we get 2 cards from our library we can play. So it is probably worth throwing away the Dungeon Crawler into Air Cult Elemental to try and venture. If not, they take 5 and then 2 more down to 1. And we're probably going to have to make the skeletons because we won't have mana up to use the Runestone Caverns. So I think we have to play Hydra. We want 3 mana back. 2, 3, 1. So we make a 4/4. That's not good, right? We want it to be at least a 5/5. 5 mana. Only leaves 2 back. If they make this unblockable, we take 5 and lose. So we do want to play the spawn. Is it worth playing a 4/4 spawn this turn and attacking with it? Do we attack with Troubadour as well this turn? And then they have to block with multiple things. And then we either trade or they just bounce this and we didn't lose the Troubadour anyway. So many decisions. It feels bad, but I am actually going to make a 4/4 with this, which is a little weird. And like the opponent should sniff out a potential issue with this, but I mean, hey, if they go down to 2 life by taking a bunch of damage, then we win, right? So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they have exactly lethal. What if they have a counter spell for Vampire Spawn? That would be embarrassing. That would be really embarrassing. But we are going to get to Venture, hopefully, and then that gets us to 1/1 black skeleton creature tokens. To block Displacer Beast, we take 4 damage. Yeah, I don't know. This is it. This is a very tense moment, as Luigi would say in Mario Golf. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Take 5. And then that makes any of these skeletons lethal because they're going to be at 1 life. Counterspell? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Nice. Okay. That's pretty good for us. They are going to get to draw another card. So we're definitely not out of danger yet. But I'm liking where we got to here. Make some skellies. And now any creature we have is lethal, so we're just attacking with everything next turn. Troubadour, you did your work. Thank you for your service. All right. Facing down 4 damage. Oh, okay. Desperation draw. I mean, they do get to look at a lot of cards with this. I haven't seen people play this card that often in draft. I imagine this card is pretty good in sealed because the games go long. Like, look at how long our game's going. They've got to activate this like 4 or 5 times, and they've seen the top 10 cards of their deck off of it. So, yeah, Arcane Investigator putting in work, if anything, is going to get them out of it. It's going to be finding something good off of that. Opponent gives us the GGs. And then concedes. Okay, right on. Well, that was intense. That was a crazy game, but I was quite happy with how we played. Sorry for whining about the removal spell situation onto the vampire, but that'll happen. And we still got there in the end anyway, so... just going to take a quick look at the deck for anyone that's just joining us. We are playing sealed. We're playing best of 1 sealed. I prefer best of 3, but I accidentally did best of 1. But hey, it's working out okay. Our deck is pretty decent, actually. We have good creature quality. Shambling Ghast is nice. These 2 Yongti Fangblades are good. They block well. They attack well. Spawn was an MVP last game. Death Priest of Mirkul is quite good. Troubadour, this is a real MVP from last game. Let's not lie here. Westgate Regent, really nice bomb rare. If you can attack with this at least once, a lot of the times that's enough for it to be out of removal spell range. Double Owlbear is nice. Zombie Ogre was really good last game too. Purple Worm. A couple good removal spells. We have Power Word Kill, Grim Bounty, and Hunter's Mark, and we're supplementing that with a Spiked Pit Trap. We haven't drawn Long Rest yet. I wonder if this card is going to be good. Like, imagine drawing Long Rest last game, and we could get back Westgate Regent. We could get back a Fangblade. We could get back a 1-drop. We could get back something else. I don't know. I think our deck's pretty good. Yeah, thanks, Trent. GG's. One of the things I notice about sealed is that there's less people playing sealed than draft, so sometimes you have to wait a while for opponents to match, but we will wait and we will try to improve on our 3-2. So we are still on the chopping block here, and yeah, I mean, we want to go 7-2 because that's the only way you net any kind of value in sealed on arena. This looks great. 1-drop, 2-drop, awesome rare card. All the lands we need to start the game, and yeah, quite happy with this hand. Playing against Mountain. Ooh, Goblin Morningstar. So we have this in our pool. This card is very good. It's one of the cards I would have been happy to play in the red deck, but I think our black-green deck is working out much better. I'm not going to attack here, especially against this deck. Like, there's probably going to be some other 1 toughness creatures to get extra value off of this, so I'll just play the 1-3 and pass. 1-3 blocks well, and next turn can start attacking and get us treasure, and who knows, maybe we can even play Regent a turn earlier and maybe it'll survive. Nice. Well, actually, we can definitely play it a turn earlier because of Thieves' Tools. So, smashy smash. Make a treasure. Play a thief. Ooh. Let's tap double black here, just in case the opponent plays a blue creature. Hunter's Mark only costs 1 mana if you play it against a blue creature. So that's pretty sweet. Opponent deciding whether or not to counterspell our Thieves' Tools. Interesting. Little do they know, this card is not that important to our deck. Okay, yeah, interesting. So they're going to try and draw out of it. I mean, strapping Thieves' Tools onto Horde Robber is really good. You just get like a ton of treasures. Our deck doesn't use the treasures super well, but you're never that sad to have treasures. Like, how many games have we just been using a bunch of treasures to make our Hydra bigger? Quite a lot. Oh, wow. Weird. Huh. So what color deck is the opponent's deck? Is it blue, red, splash white? Is it blue, white, splash red? Is it Jeskai? Oh, this is a card I do want to kill. So let's kill it. +1/+1 and fight. Or bite. Let's fight. I mean, if the opponent is already trying to, like, loot for stuff, I just don't want them to have the opportunity to draw extra cards. And now they don't have counterspell mana for Westgate Regent. That's awesome. So let's go ahead and smash in. Yeah, sorry, Trent. I hope you had a nice little nap in between rounds there. And then play our awesome Vampire. And hope the opponent doesn't have something that deals 4 damage off of 3 mana. 4 mana? Is there a card that does that? I don't think so. There's a deal 5 and a deal 3. But not a deal 4. So this is pretty good for us, especially against blue-red. Like, I mean, they could be splashing the Minimus Containment, the white 3-mana enchantment. But if this becomes an 8/8, they definitely can't kill it with a red removal spell, unless they have Meteor Swarm. That would be exactly what would happen to us. Is they would play, I would say there's nothing they have that can kill this, and then they would play Meteor Swarm and deal 8 damage to it, which would be really funny, actually. But I just keep smashing away. And that's the reason I didn't want to attack with Shambling Ghast earlier, is like, if my opponent plays multiple cards with 1 toughness, pretty happy to have this to block with. And, I mean, Feign Death is nice. If the opponent tries to kill Westgate Regent, we have the Feign Death. Oh, no! Charm Sleep! Yeah, I forgot about Charm Sleep. That's okay. It's a good 2-for-1. I don't think... Oh, we actually do have the Sepulchre Ghoul. We do have a way to sacrifice this later. So it is possible we could sacrifice Westgate Regent to our own creature later and then bring it back as a 5/5, which might be okay. Well, that's a little bit unfortunate, but Charm Sleep is decent for that reason. Like, it got rid of this card that was going to destroy them. So Death Priest is also decent. It makes this a 2/2. And we attack and make a zombie horde. Nope. A skeleton horde. Yeah, let's do it. If they don't block, they take 3. If they do block, we make a 2/2. That's pretty good. Even equip this now. Let's make this unblockable. Yeah, Trent, if we're boring you, you are more than welcome to go nap elsewhere. You don't need to be napping on my stream, that's for sure. And the 1/1 coming in. No blocks. All right. Well, we're just gonna keep attacking, and I don't want to say we can't lose because we definitely can, but do we just use this now? Probably. Yeah, I don't want to say we can't lose, but it's gonna be kind of tough for us to lose. And now we'll just slap down an ogre. We'll get a skeleton. Like, this is going pretty well for us, I would say. Oh, I get it, Trent. You're being clever. Yeah. It's just, Patty Laddie. After I said it, I was like, "There's no red card that can deal with an 8/8." As soon as I said it, I was like, "No, wait, there is." I guaranteed the opponent would have it, but looks like it worked out okay for us this time. If they attack with the 4/2, I'll block with this 2/2. I don't mind taking 2 damage off of this. Okay, they're just setting up the defense. And now, yeah, I mean, I'm not doing the math, but I'm just going to attack with everything. Like, when stuff dies, we get to venture and make skeletons. Well, Dragon Turtle's pretty good. Tapping the Ogre? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're still going to attack with everything. They don't have great blocks, and we're just going to try and beat them down, but... Well, even the Thieves' Tools making this Death Priest being able to attack is pretty good. Normally, I would never attack with this card. It's just too good at making 2/2s, but... Boom. 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 So many triggers. Boom. Well, I would say... the deck played out well. Our opponent didn't really... opponent had some weird stuff. It's kind of like they're playing white cards with no planes. Oh, they do have a planes. Never mind. I shouldn't have talked shit about them. Okay, well, that was good. Just the tip of the iceberg. Let's keep running it back and see if we can get some value out of this sealed. Besides the fun and the good times that we're sharing together, let's see if we can get some gem value. I am enjoying this too. I really like sealed, and I'll be happy when they have the live pre-release events and stuff back in Calgary, because I do always enjoy going to those. That's right. Everything's coming up. Daily Travesty. Okay. And we even had to wait less than a minute for our next match. That's awesome. This is a weaker hand for sure, but we still have a 2-drop, a decent 4, decent 5, and a removal spell. So, I mean, I'm not going to turn my nose up to that, especially if our opponent ends up mulliganing. It's just like a little note about people's pets. I don't understand why they're on the right side of the screen. Like, maybe I'm just being elitist, like very rightist or something, but I feel like if I had a pet, it would be on my right side, right? It's like your right-hand man or your best friend. So I'm not really sure why the opponent's pet goes here. I thought it would go over here. Although I do tend to look over here more often, so maybe it's like, hey, here's my pet, look at it kind of thing. I'm not really sure. I'll just hang back. I don't need to attack. I'm going to hit them for 1. They're going to hit us for 3. That doesn't seem good to me, so. Wake up the dragon. They attack, we probably block. I mean, We don't want their 3-1 trading for our 4-3, and we don't want to take a bunch of damage against them, so. Every time I run this out early, it feels really bad and vulnerable, so I think I might not play the Pit Trap. Is that bad? I mean, turn 4, we're playing Skeletons. Turn 5, we probably want access to this because we probably won't play this. Yeah, okay, I'm going to play it. I don't know if that's right. Like, I think you want to sandbag the Pit Trap. Ooh, nice. As long as you can, but... Okay, well, now we just play Troubadour. Even though this blocks better, but this gives us early value. Although if the opponent has Precipitous Drop, -2/-2 to something, it feels bad if we play this. It feels okay if we play this. And this is more likely to be able to attack to give us Purple Worm next turn. So, But then this gets a Venture this turn and a Venture next turn because of the extra land. Is it better to have Purple Worm a turn earlier than it is to have 2 Ventures? But we only get the Purple Worm a turn early if this attacks and they chump block, which they aren't likely to do. So how likely is it they play a 3-4 next turn and they want to block? I think the safest play is just to take the early value and scry this turn. Although that's kind of a tough pick for me. Ooh, Hunter's Mark is nice. No blocks. Ooh, Nadar is good. We might have to use Hunter's Mark this turn and then attack for 5, which is actually still okay. Like, I don't want them attacking with this and getting extra value. Okay, well, now we can't attack, but we can still use Hunter's Mark this turn. Or we can use Spike Pit Trap this turn. We're not playing blue. Because I really don't want them to attack with this. Although I guess if they attack with this next turn, they'll get a 1/1 and we can block with Skeletons. So that's not even that bad. Yeah, I probably just play the Skeletons this turn. I don't mind blocking Skeletons onto Nadar, and that prevents them from attacking. It develops our board a bit. Yeah, that's okay. And we'll get a 1/1 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we want to ramp up to the worm? No, we probably just get the 1/1 to block the priest. Seems okay. Planar Ally. Well, that's a nice one to use one of our removal spells on. So kind of happy we waited. And they're going to be able to attack with this right away. We could attack with Clattering Skeletons, and then they could double block and kill this, or a single block, or just take 4. If they take 4, we're unhappy because we can't block Nadar. We do want to kill this as soon as we can, and they didn't attack last turn, so I think we probably just use Spike Pit Trap this turn. Maybe we get a treasure out of it too. No. Nope. But this kind of prevents them from attacking next turn as well. Assuming nothing else changes. Yonti is fine. Oh. Oh. They were just like spamming. Ooh. Nice. We already have 2 spells we can get back. If a 4-drop dies or the Hunter's Mark, we can get 3 things back for 6 mana. Ooh. That seems awesome to me. That seems really good. I don't want to attack with Skeletons because they get block, kill, or just trade here. So I think we just draw a card with Owlbear. If we draw a land, we get to Venture again. And then we can kind of selectively block to get max value out of Long Rest. So this is actually going to be awesome. 1/1 counter onto the Goblin onto Skeletons. Oh, this blocks this good enough already. So we probably just put a counter onto the Goblin, because then it can block the 2/2. Because otherwise we'd have to block Yuan-Ti with the 4/3. So we'll block this here. This can block this. They attack with this 2/1, we can eat it. Yeah, this is nice. Actually, and now that we know we have the long rest coming up, okay, well, that's fine. That just gives us extra mana for long rest. Troubadour, no. If I attack with the Owlbear, they block. If I attack with Skeletons, they block here. If they block, we can play Purple Worm for 5 mana. That's not awful, right? So I think I do attack with the Skeletons now. Like, we still have decent blocks if they just take 4 and smash us back. And we probably just want to play Purple Worm as it is. 8/7's pretty tough to deal with. And then we can use Hunter's Mark to kill the Death Toucher, which lets Purple Worm attack. And then we can use Long Rest to get Hunter's Mark, Spike Pit Trap, and Underdark Basilisk back. That's pretty good. The only thing else we'd want is a 3-drop, and we have this 3-drop, which we could start attacking with. So I think our turn is going to be to play Dungeon Crawler at Hunter's Mark onto Yuan-Ti and attack for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So let's start with this. Do I want to attack with the 5/5? Probably. Because now this can attack, and they would have to double block to... Oh, okay. Well, we still didn't get to cast Long Rest, but this card would have been insane that game. Like, getting back Hunter's Mark, Spike Pit Trap, and Underdark Basilisk, or Troubadour Trap Basilisk, something. Yeah, I definitely think this card is worth playing in Sealed. Like, that was awesome. Sad we didn't get to cast it, but hey, we'll take the win, and we'll keep rolling here. What does that put us at? 4? 4 wins? 5. 5 and 2. There's a 2 behind my face. Just trust me. Obviously, it's not a 3, and why would I lie? So, 5 and 2. Okay. Well, let's keep running with it. This is the one thing I have a problem with Sealed, is that 5 and 2 feels pretty good, and you still lose gems. Like, you have to get 6-2 to break even, and 7-2 to make 200 gems back, which is like nothing. So it'd be nice if the prizes were a little bit better, but I also don't know why it costs 2,200 gems. Like, what's a pack worth? 100 gems or something? 150? So you're getting like 900 gems worth of packs. Why is the tournament worth 1,100 gems? It doesn't make sense to me. Actually, that doesn't make sense at all. That's like awful value. Except, again, for the good times we get to share together on stream. So, wow, we've been really lucky with our mana. Oh, I guess we're playing best of 1 too. That's the other thing. I've been playing a lot of best of 3. And when you play best of 3, your hand doesn't get smoothed. Like, in best of 1, Arena will draw you, I think, 2 hands, and then give you the one that has a better mix of lands and spells. So you're less likely to get mana screwed in best of 1. But when you play best of 3, they don't do that. So I've been playing more best of 3, and as such, I've had to mulligan more because you get worse hands. Just a note. I don't know. It's more like Paper Magic, where you just draw random cards. You can get mana screwed a lot more. Well, we got Yuan-Ti on turn 3. And our opponent is suiting up something fierce. Couple of nice equipments. Reaper's Talisman and Plate Armor are awesome. Spike Pit Trap is fine. I mean, we know about it now. So we're going to have to leverage this Hunter's Mark. Like, if they have one creature in their hand and they try to suit it up, we're going to wreck them. But we could get counter-wrecked if they leave up the Spike Pit Trap. And we only have one creature. So we definitely don't want to run out Westgate Regent because they'll just use the trap on it. I think we're going to try and bait their Spike Pit with our Zombie Ogre. And that kind of shows one of the flaws. One of the flaws of playing Spiked Pit Trap early is now we as the opponent can play around it. Like, we're not going to run our Bomb Rare out this turn because next turn they can just kill it. We'll play like this Troubadour, which has no value. Just kidding. It's a good card, as you all know. They could just, I mean, Paladin Shield. So the opponent has no creatures for their million equipments. That being said, Plate Armor is now free. Do we want this swamp? Probably not. Although we have Grim Bounty, Zombie Ogre, Westgate Regent. We have a bunch of double black spells and only one treasure. Yeah, we probably want the swamp. We get extra value off of lands from Troubadour as well. One less to activate for each other equipment. So they could play a creature, 2, 1, and this. Let's get the 1/1. And I mean, if they spend their whole turn killing Troubadour, that's fine. Oh, Paladin, yeah. Well, that's a nice juicy target for Hunter's Mark. I think I'm gonna wait until they suit it up though. Does this give ward? Gives ward 1. This doesn't give ward. Oh, but if we try and use Hunter's Mark, they could Pit Trap in response. So we probably just want to main phase this. Well, we'd probably just play Grim Bounty then, right? Because this is sorcery speed and we want to do that anyway. Yeah, Patty Laddie. So sealed is I guess the value in sealed is getting the cards, but you get 6 packs. Like, that's not worth 2,000 gems, right? Let's make the goblin a little bit more threatening. This deck is sweet, by the way. Like, this is a decent draft deck. I think that's what we said during deck building. Like, this actually looks like a decent draft deck, and we got it in sealed. Like, I'm very happy with how the deck's playing out. We got a lot of good venturing synergies now. Yeah, cool. 5/5. Ward 1. Okay. Well, that's a nice juicy target for Hunter's Mark next turn. Hunter's Mark, smash for 8. Seems pretty good. And we have the Death Toucher, so it doesn't matter how big the Paladin gets. And we can even hit for an extra point of damage this turn. That's kind of nice. I'll just scry again. I don't think we need to deal 1 damage to them off of the Temple or the Doom, whatever. I could play Horde Robber there, but I'd rather just keep up Feign Death in case they have a removals. Oh, they need a couple things here. Actually, the opponent needs a few things, but... Well, Vampire Spawn is a way for them to kind of claw their way back. They go up to 4. They make this thing massive. We still get them, though. Because there's no way for them to gain any more life. So they have to block the 4/2, and then they take 4 damage from these 2. Yeah. Just one little note for people that are watching and are trying to learn about Magic and stuff. Notice how putting the 1/1 counter on the Goblin made us have lethal this turn. I think one thing that newer players might not consider is that, like, they might just put it on their biggest creature and be like, oh, I want this creature to be bigger. I want it to survive more things, which sometimes is worth thinking about. But here, like if this 1/1 counter was on Troubadour, they could block Troubadour. They take 2-3 damage and they actually don't die next turn. By spreading out our resources and putting the counter on our 1/1, upgrading it to a 2/2, we actually make a cheap, crappy creature a little bit more threatening. And in this case, that's what made it so that we would definitely have lethal next turn. So if you don't know where to put your 1/1 counters and they don't have to go on your big creatures, consider putting them on your small creatures just to spread out your resources. So yeah, Patty Laddie, this deck crushes dungeons. And that's kind of what we said in deck building too, is like we had considered splashing the green Troubadour in our red black deck, but it was like one of the only venture cards we had, kind of. I don't think it would have been as good, but in this green black deck, it's really good. Now, what else is venturing? Zombie Ogre, Yonti Fangblades, which we would have also had in the red black deck. But I think this green black deck plays a better, slower game, and you get paid off for being a slower deck with venturing because you have more time to like play a land, say go, Troubadour Ventures. Like, I don't know. I think this deck was the right build, and that wasn't obvious in deck building. Patty Laddie, if you end up going back and watching the deck building, I was pretty sure we were going to be black red, and then we tried the black green deck and saw what it looked like, and that one actually looked way more synergistic. So, oh man, so we've really lucked out with lands. 1-drop, 2-drop, bomb rare. Like we've been super lucky. So again, don't look at this stream and be like, wow, like we won because of like amazing deck or really good play or something. Like we've certainly made our mistakes. We've been really lucky on lands. We've had both colors every single game. We've had enough lands and creatures to play right at the beginning of every game. Now that's partially for deck building, right? But it's also sealed. Like we just got lucky and opened up good 2-drops and stuff. Oh, this card is amazing. We are in trouble. As I'm talking about whatever. So I would definitely sideboard those Cursed Idol cards in here to kill this, because this card's insane. This card wins the game on its own. We don't have any way to deal with it right away. We don't even have a way to deal with their 3/3 they're going to attack with. The one thought I have is we could try to attack them, get the treasure off of Horde Robber, and play Westgate Regent next. Oh no, we have Thieves' Tools. We don't have to do that. My best bet is to try and play this and smash them with it before this thing goes off, because like they're gonna attack with a 3/3 next turn, attack with a 4/4 the turn after it. So I'm actually not going to attack here, and I'm gonna try and force them to not attack, or if they want to spend their entire turn upgrading Ranger class, they have to trade their creature for both of ours, or for one of ours, and that's going to slow them down enough that Westgate Regent can like hopefully kill them. That being said, this plan only works if they don't have a removal spell in hand, but we're gonna try our best. This card is insane. Yeah, this is fine. We play the Spike Pit Trap. Now we can play Westgate Regent after attacks, and if they don't untap and play Grim Bounty, Westgate Regent might be able to get there. If they don't play Grim Bounty this turn, we might get there. Okay, Thieves' Tools. Whew, that's good. We did it. We're actually going to get to attack with the Regent once in this sealed pool. Look at us go. I don't think I want to use the Spike Pit Trap yet. Are we going to end up using it on Horde Robber anyway? Because we don't want them to get a creature. I'm going to just attack here. The thing is, I want to save this for a creature that's potentially big enough to kill Westgate Regent, which there isn't. Because they could go Death Touch Creature plus Spoils or Hunter's Mark. So if they don't have unconditional black removal, and they don't have a Death Toucher that they can cast a fight spell on, they can't beat Westgate Regent, which is exactly what happened there. So that was the game plan. Yeah, I think we actually played pretty well there. And we got to attack with Westgate Regent. That was awesome. Thanks, Patty Lighty. Yeah, the deck deserves to go 7-2. Screw Travis. He doesn't need to go 7-2, but this deck this deck should go 7-2. This deck was really good. I would be happy to play this sealed deck any day. It just ran really smooth. We had a really, really deep pool of black cards to play with. And we had some really good green cards. I think Long Rest would have been really good. The one game we drew it and then our opponent conceded. Like, we would have drawn 3 awesome cards off of this. It would have been great. So anyway, we are 7-2. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. This is what the deck looked like. Ran really smooth. Thieves Tools, secret MVP, because not only does it allow you to chip in a bit, which isn't that great in this deck. I guess getting to Venture with Thieves Tools is nice, but this lets us play our spells early. It fixes your mana. In that last game, we played Thieves Tools. We got the Westgate Regent a turn early, which was really important, I think. If our opponent had a couple extra turns and maybe didn't get mana screwed there, they might have been able to deal with this, and then their Ranger class would have killed us. So Thieves Tools let us play our bomb a little bit early. Even just playing Owlbear on turn 4, like 4 mana 4/4 draw card is huge, right? So really happy with how the deck turned out. Really happy that everyone came out to watch. I hope you guys had a good time. This has been the Daily Travesty, and I hope you all have a nice day. I'll chat to you later.